Hello, you're listening to Spirit Talk Show. I am Doyle, the host. We are reading some AI-generated stories, but also talking to people about their lives and their history and the stuff that we'd all like to hear from people and let people tell their story. I am in the studio with my dad, Jim Doyle. He's telling me about, in part one, if you haven't listened to, go back and listen to about a story about my uncle, Frank Stagg, a hunger striker, an IRA hunger striker who died in the 70s. But Dad, you were going to say that there was an example you're going to give when he first got arrested. What was that?
Yes, he was on remand initially in Birmingham court or prison, and when he was convicted, he was placed on a high security prison in Parkhurst, which was in the Isle of Wight.
Okay.
So we were cleared by the Home Office as his relatives to visit him. So I remember on our first visit, we drove to Southampton, to the south coast. Yeah. We got a ferry half an hour onto the Isle of Wight and got a bus 20 minutes to the prison. Entering the prison, we were placed in a holding area, and then we were brought up to the visiting area where Rose, my wife, and I were taken into separate rooms and strip searched.
Okay.
So you're stripped off and guys went around you with this little machine and you went into the visit. When you went into the visit, it was a room that was divided by a perspex. There was no human contact, and there was a prison officer at the end of the table listening and obviously watching every move.
Yeah.
Frank initially said to us, my wife was a very fiery individual. Frank said, do not say anything anti-establishment or the visit will be stopped.
That's funny.
So we had a 1 hour visit. No human contact. When we came out from this visit, we were strip searched again.
Okay, wow.
I call that harassment.
Well,
you know.
I mean, that's obviously the policy at the time. I mean, you were Irish and Irish weren't treated well.
That's time. Right.
And Isle of Wight, is that the island between Ireland and Britain, or is that the one between France and?
It's I suppose it's between Ireland down off the southwest coast, and of course it'd be the east coast of Ireland as well.
So the Isle of Man's a different island.
It is, yeah. That's on the west or the east. Sorry, the Isle of Wight's on the west coast, and it's only like 4 or 5 miles off the coast of Britain.
Okay.
And there's 60 miles between Britain and Ireland.
Okay.
And it's not enough.
It's not enough. Well, I mean, well, actually, there's no miles between Britain and Ireland because they still occupy Ireland.
Absolutely.
They're still up there. And I know you talked about there's a possibility. You think there's going to be a referendum in the near future.
In 5 years, the government, the Parliament in the 6 counties is controlled by Sinn Féin.
Yeah.
At the moment, and there's going to be a referendum within 5 years to see is there a majority to leave the UK.
And so, if they do, they just become a united Ireland.
Correct, but I can see an awful lot of work before that happens. There's so much bigotry and hatred,
Oh, yeah, of course. But if it became united Ireland, is that the IRA done? Their job's finished?
Yes.
So I mean.
Well, of course, the IRA are finished. There was under the peace process in 1998, where all military operations stopped, and there was a peace agreement signed. Bill Clinton was one of the main contributors to that.
So what you're saying to me is the IRA currently does not exist.
Correct.
Okay, so that's your story, and you're sticking to it on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. So okay. Well, what else about when Frank died and you guys, so did people for years, did the people not even know he was out of the concreted grave? I'm sure the Republicans knew, but did the British Army and the Irish government not even know?
A lot of people in Ireland didn't know.
So
they didn't know.
But I'm saying the Irish government, did they think he was still buried under there for a long time?
Oh yeah, the Irish government did. You may well ask, we returned to Ireland in 1975.
Yeah.
Frank had been in a previous hunger strike when his comrade died, Michael Gahan.
Yeah.
Basically, they talk now online about his final hunger strike and his death.
Okay.
So people might wonder, the reason probably we returned from England, my wife, Rose, didn't want to live in England anymore because her brother was on hunger strike. And You know, it's like if British soldiers were convicted of stuff in Ireland, they were returned to England to serve their sentences.
Yeah.
That's all that Frank wanted. He wanted to be repatriated, even to Belfast, which is still in the UK, but it was near his aged parents. He just wanted the same treatment, to be repatriated.
So would he? But if he was repatriated to a Dublin or an Irish prison, is there a chance they would have let him out? They would have let him.
No.
So like why, if you were convicted, a British soldier convicted in Ireland, why would they serve a sentence in Britain?
Because that's the way the British government operated.
Okay.
I suppose for the same reasons you talk about, if there was a British soldier in a prison in Northern Ireland or the Republic, they would be in grave danger of reprisal, obviously.
So why do you think they didn't want to repatriate them?
Well, basically, Margaret Thatcher was the Prime Minister of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose...
You're a big fan, I'm sure.
I'm not.
No, you're not a big fan, okay.
Definitely not.
Okay.
And she wasn't giving in. Initially, when 10 hunger strikers died in 1981, she didn't give in then. 10 hunger strikers died in 4 months.
And all they wanted was to be returned to Ireland?
All they wanted was civil rights. They were political prisoners.
Yeah.
But they wanted political status. I suppose to legitimise the party of Sinn Féin, which in English means ourselves alone. They wanted to govern Ireland without interference from Britain.
So, do you see it happening in your lifetime?
I don't think so. I'm turning 83 next month. I doubt it. I don't think so.
Well, your mother lived into her mid-90s.
94, yeah. 94.
So you could be around for 11 more years.
11? I intend to be around a lot longer than that.
A lot longer than that? Well, you just said, I thought, because it could happen in 5 years, this thing could happen in 5 years.
I doubt it. There's so much bigotry, I doubt it. But I mean, let me tell you about after Frank's arrest and during his hunger strike, there was various appeals made to Rose, my wife, from the BBC for interviews to request her brother to come off the hunger strike.
Yeah.
And we became known. And for that reason, I worked as a supervisor at Massey Ferguson's, and some of the people at the factory were talking about refusing to work with me because I was related to Frank Stagg.
Okay, yeah.
But a good friend of mine who was, he was also worked there, told them at their meeting that I was just working there to raise a family and do a job like everybody else. And if they refused to work with me, it was the back axle section of the factory. They would stop all work going to them. So they changed their mind. But I remember going home that night and saying to Rose, we're going to have to leave here. We're going to have to leave.
Yeah.
So that was in November 74. It became very anti-Irish after the Birmingham bombs. And
so you had a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 6-year-old?
Kevin was 8.
8?
Yeah.
8, and that's 74.
4 boys. You were only, 2?
I wasn't even 2 yet. I was in the 2.
That's right.
I was going to turn 2 that year because I'm later in the year, right?
That's right.
Wow. And but when did we leave?
We left on 20th of March 1975. I had come over at Christmas and purchased a house.
So I swear I have a memory from the day we left with the bathroom and something. And did you break down a door or something?
Oh, yeah.
So I want to tell that story.
Well, we had a separate toilet as well as the bathroom.
Yeah.
And you locked yourself in the toilet.
Yeah, because it was a key. You go in. It was easy to lock, but hard to unlock. Yeah.
And I think you got a bit of a panic attack, or maybe we got a bit of a panic attack on the other side of the door.
Yeah.
But Rose convinced you to turn the key or to whatever. But after quite a while, we got you out unscathed without doing any damage to the door.
Well,
I had forgotten all about that. I'd forgotten all about that.
I didn't know that. The story I had heard for years is you came through the door and smashed it.
No.
And I was hiding behind the toilet crying.
No.
That's it. Why I think
your mum actually convinced you how to. No, that was the next option, to break the door down.
Yeah. So because I remember those locks, there would be a key in the keyhole.
Yeah.
And they were really easy to fall into lock, but they were really hard to pull to unlock. Because our house in Navan had a key like that upstairs at some point. And in this country, it's not tradition. A lot of people don't lock their bathroom doors. They just go in, and if the door is closed, you don't go in, right?
Well, you weren't supposed to lock it either, were you?
Well, I mean, I was like, why was I going to the bathroom myself at what? Just over 2, right? I was 2.5, right?
Something like that.
So what, did I go to the bathroom by myself at that age?
I don't know.
So that was funny. And so we left that house.
That's like 80 years ago,
80, yeah. It feels like it. So, well, let's talk about, we talked about Frank and Freedom for Ireland, but we want to talk about Killarney, right? Because you grew up in this beautiful town that's very well known by tourists. Is Bing Crosby from that town?
No. Bing Crosby was Irish American.
But I thought he has family, relatives there, no?
Quite honestly, I'm not sure about that.
Well, because didn't he do a concert there in the?
He did, yes.
And I thought he had some connection to. I thought he had some connection to. But I wonder if people know who are listening who Bing Crosby is. He was a movie star and singer from the 40s and 50s. He was in the movie White Christmas.
That's right.
That's the only movie. That's the biggest movie that people will probably know.
That's right.
I mean, he did Danny Kaye. He did a lot with Danny Kaye. I like Danny Kaye.
I can tell you Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy were there in 1951.
In Ireland?
In Killarney.
Well, the skinny guy is Laurel, right?
Laurel, correct.
Did he have some connection to Ireland?
No, he was English born.
But I thought he had some connection to Ireland.
Not sure. But they were both during their tour of Britain. They played in Dublin at the Abbey Theatre and they visited Killarney.
Oh wow.
They didn't play there, they just visited.
Their performance there. So you grew up in this town called Killarney, and can you tell us a little bit about Killarney?
The most amazing town. It's mountains and lakes, and I had a very happy childhood. I can remember at a very young age, my uncle Charles O'Brien, had a boat, and I used to take it out on the lake rowing, more often than not without permission, after school. And I can remember having my brothers in the boat, and we used to row out to an island, which was a mile out the lake, 1 mile, called Innisfallen. There was the ruins of a 9th century monastery. We used to play in that ruins.
Yeah.
But we often stopped the boat at a rock halfway out. It was known as the Prison Rock, because there was a prison there when during the Cromwellian times. It's now underwater. And I used to rock the boat, be in the water. There was 60 foot of water. I was being messing when I think my brothers were 11 and 12. I was like 14, 15.
You guys couldn't swim.
I could swim.
I could swim,
but they couldn't.
Jesus.
When I think about the stuff I got up to.
The stuff you survived. And so, wait, the lakes of Killarney are natural lakes, or they're
natural lakes. There is Muckross Lake. There is Loch Lane. There is 7 lakes. It's basically the one stretch of water. But Muckross House there, the lake opposite that is called Muckross Lake. Because it's near Muckross House and Gardens, which are an amazing facility. So
why is this prison under 60 foot of water? Did it sink, or did it?
The ground. There's now not a big area of it showing, but it used to be a prison on an island, a little island, smaller, and back in the Cromwellian times, like in the 16th century.
And so it sunk, or the island just eroded away?
It sunk.
Okay.
Eroded as well,
Okay,
and of course, as you look out from Ross Castle, which overlooks the lake, as you often seen yourself.
Yeah. Wow. So, so Killarney is, I'm sure anybody who goes to Ireland is going to visit Killarney.
Killarney is amazing. You've got, you've got the Ring of Kerry, you've got the Gap of Dunloe, you have Muckross Gardens.
Whenever I take people there, I love to take them to the Cliffs of Moher and take the Listowel, is it Listowel Ferry?
That is the Tarbert to Killimer.
The Tarbert, I love taking that ferry across the mouth of the Shannon.
It brings you up the west coast.
It's very iconic, and it feels like a very Irish thing to do. It's like you fit like 8 cars on it or something. How big is it?
That's right. But it's only a 25-minute crossing.
And you're crossing the mouth of the Shannon.
Correct.
That's
and
cool.
It brings you up by the Cliffs of Moher.
The Cliffs of Moher, and the Cliffs of Moher, I believe, are the Cliffs of Moher the cliffs they used in The Princess Bride? Is that the Cliffs of Moher?
I'm not sure.
But it looks like the cliffs from that movie, The Princess Bride. But anybody who goes to Ireland, it's become a lot. Last time I went to Ireland,
they've built a viewing station, that overlooks, and it's amazing. 700 feet sheer cliffs.
Yeah, it's a lot more commercialized than it used to be. Because when I went with my now ex-wife in 1999, you could crawl right up to the edge and look over. But it's become a lot more commercialized now.
Very more secure as well.
Yeah, and they have that cool thing like a business in the mountain, the guest center is a mountain. But you should go. It's a bit of a drive from Galway because of the windy road, but
It's only like 1 hour from Galway, less.
it took us longer than that. But I think we went to a cave on the way. What's that cave?
Ailwee Cave.
And so it's a cave.
It's
really,
a limestone cave.
we went in that cave, but also when you go in the cave, they have this tunnel they built
That's right.
to get out of the cave. You don't have to walk through the cave again, which
Yeah.
seems like it was very damaging to the.
Yeah.
But that was cool. So, but the roads are very small, and we did take. I think we took about 2 or 3 hours to get down there. So okay, well, why don't we read this story about Killarney, and you could tell us how accurate it is. Okay. So here we go. Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead and read.
Okay, it's called Whispers of Killarney. Nestled in the heart of Ireland's southwest, Killarney was a place of legends where emerald green hills rolled into the mist-covered mountains and ancient forest, whisper secrets to those who care to listen. It was here that Maeve O'Connell, a young archaeologist with a penchant for mysteries, found herself after receiving an enigmatic letter. The letter bore no return address, only a wax seal stamped with a Celtic knot. Inside was a map of the Killarney National Park, marked with an X near Muckross Abbey and a single line written in an elegant script. The truth lies beneath the U. Maeve's heart raced. She had heard the tales of Killarney's hidden treasures, but most dismissed them as folklore. She packed her satchel with essentials, a compass, a flashlight, a notebook, and her late grandmother's silver pendant, rumoured to bring protection. The next morning, the park greeted Maeve with its breathtaking beauty. Muckross Lake shimmered under the weak winter sun, and the scent of damp earth filled the air. Following the map, Maeve reached Muckross Abbey, a hauntingly beautiful ruin. The abbey stood silent, its ivy-covered walls whispering tales of monks, invaders, and buried secrets. She found the ancient yew tree in the abbey's courtyard, its gnarled roots sprawling like skeletal fingers. As Maeve circled the tree, her fingers brushed against an inscription of the trunk, faint but legible under the moss. Time reveals the faithful. The discovery. Using her flashlight, Maeve examined the ground beneath the yew. Her breath caught as she noticed a circle of stone partially buried under years of dirt. With a small spade, she cleared the soil to reveal a carved Celtic knot, identical to one on the letter seal. The stone was a lid covering a narrow opening that led into darkness. Cautiously, Maeve lowered herself into the hidden chamber, her flashlight cutting through the pitch-black void. The air was cool and smelled of earth and decay. The walls were adorned with faded frescoes depicting monks guarding a chest. At the centre of the chamber lay a stone pedestal, and on it, a small wooden box intricately carved with symbols of protection and eternity. Maeve hesitated. Could this be the treasure of Killarney, spoken in hushed tones? The treasure? Opening the box, Maeve found an old manuscript wrapped in silk. The pages were fragile but legible, written in Latin. It was a chronicle of the monks of Muckross Abbey, detailing their efforts to safeguard ancient knowledge during the Viking invasions. Alongside the manuscript was a small ornate key. Maeve's excitement turned to confusion. Where was the gold, the jewels? Then it hit her. The real treasure was knowledge preserved against all odds. The pursuit. As Maeve emerged from the chamber, the sound of footsteps echoed in the abbey. She wasn't alone. A man in a dark coat stepped into view, his face shadowed by a wide-brimmed hat. He held another map. "You found it," he said, his voice calm but firm. "The manuscript belongs to his family." Maeve clutched the box. "Who are you?" "Declan Fitzpatrick. My ancestors helped the monks hide the treasure. He gestured to the box. That key opens another door, one that leads to something far greater. The alliance. Reluctantly, Maeve agreed to work with Declan. The key led him to Ross Castle, where they discovered a hidden passageway beneath the ancient fortress. Together they unearthed a large cache of manuscripts, artefacts, and a golden chalice encrusted with emeralds. The artefacts told stories of Ireland's history, its resilience and its spirit. Maeve realised they had stumbled upon a heritage that belonged to all of Ireland, not just one family. Maeve and Declan decided to donate the find to the National Museum of Ireland, ensuring it would be preserved for future generations. As she left Killarney, Maeve felt a sense of fulfilment. The treasure hunt had revealed more than the artefacts. It had connected her to Ireland's soul. Killarney would forever hold a special place in her heart, a land where myths and history intertwined, and where whispers of the past awaited those brave enough to listen.
Oh, I thought that was a sweet story. It didn't really reveal a lot. Why do you think they used Muckross Abbey and not like Ross Castle or something?
Well, Muckross Abbey, it was, I suppose, the history with Muckross Abbey. It was monks.
Do you know the history of Ross Castle?
I'm not up to speed on that.
Okay, so...
See, I left Ireland when I was 19.
So, oh yeah, because you were... But, I mean, you didn't... The Christian brothers didn't learn about the local castle?
Well, they did, but I probably wasn't paying enough attention at the time.
Well, those of you who ever get to go to Killarney, Ross Castle is this big, epic, what's it, about 6 stories high castle,
yes,
and it's very square.
It's like it's like 100, I think 195 feet.
Wow, and it's still very intact.
Yeah, and it's still open to the public, and it's free to view it. You can go up onto the castle and view the lakes, the distant lakes.
I've never climbed up in it. I always thought you had to pay to climb up on it. So maybe because I never remember us climbing up on it. Maybe I do remember taking a ferry out to the island and seeing the 9th century and going on. And you'd leave from Ross Castle, right?
The Ross Castle, 1 mile to the island.
So, well, we got about 3.5 minutes left. So let's talk about Ireland. And you've lived in Ireland for, what would you say is the biggest change in Ireland in the last 40 years?
Definitely the economy. Ireland has probably one of the world's strongest economies at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
It's high tech, very young. There's very young manpower.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, that all the companies from Silicon Valley, Google, PayPal, Intel are all in Ireland, right?
And I got employment when I returned from England. I was employed by an American company.
Where are they based?
They were based in Grand Rapids in Michigan. Bissell, they manufacture home care products.
So you went to visit one time in Michigan?
I was in Grand Rapids for 1 month. At the time, the Irish factory started up. When I was employed as a supervisor, they sent me and 2 others to Grand Rapids for 1 month to sort of the tooling that was coming to Ireland for their production.
So when was that?
That was in 1975, June 1975. Okay. I had returned to Ireland in March 75.
So wait. You sent my mother to her house in Navan with 4 kids, and then you went away for a month?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that?
It was a necessary evil at the time.
Did somebody come and stay with us or something?
Well, she had her brother, George, by this time, who had returned to Ireland, living about 25 minutes away. Yeah. She had a brother in Dublin who visited her a lot.
I liked Uncle George and his family. I have a lot of fond memories with them going to Longwood, and that's probably the closest family connection I had, closer to my brothers. And I remember going to Longwood a lot, and I have a lot of really fond memories. I loved his family, and they all seem to be doing so fabulously well right now. I mean, their son, Sean is, what does he do?
He works like with CISC, which is, he'd be an engineer, a civil engineer.
Yeah.
Sean.
And Siobhan is now, she has a different last name.
Yeah, she lives, she's Green is her name. Her married name, Green.
I see her on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And the 2 boys, what are they doing?
Kieran is in tech.
Yeah.
And Prunchy is working with CISC as well as a general foreman.
They all seem to be doing well. And,
very well, yeah.
They were really special to have close like that. And so, So what needs to change in Ireland right now?
I suppose we need to have a 32 county.
Yeah, well, so you want the freedom. You want 32 counties.
Absolutely.
Can Ireland handle the 6 counties back?
Absolutely. But the question is, while the Catholic majority in the north of Ireland, some of the Catholics may not vote to come in with the Irish Free State, as we call it, because they might figure they get better benefits at the moment from Britain.
Well, they imagine they probably will. Well, we have about a minute left here, but
they actually don't.
They don't? Oh.
No.
Well, I would imagine Britain has a little bit more money, but I guess I don't know enough information. But we should say hello. We should say hello to Tommy Riley too.
Absolutely, he lives in Fermanagh. He lives in the UK in England in Fermanagh,
in Northern Ireland, an Irish soil, but it's owned by Britain.
Yes.
Hey, Tommy. Tommy is a second cousin, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So, wow, great. That I loved hearing a lot of the history. There's some information I haven't heard about before with that, with the removal of the body. That was a big operation.
Yeah.
But, thank you so much for coming. This is really cool to have on tape. And we'll help you save. Your grandkids can listen to it. Say hi to Finn. He's probably listening right now.
Hi, Finn.
Yeah.
Take it easy, man. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. If you guys would like to get involved, you can go to spirittalkshow.com, see all the information there on the website, and listen to this special episode with my dad and other episodes. Welcome to season 4. We're trying something new here, talking to people's life stories and mixing it with the AI generated stories. But say goodbye, Dad.
All the best.
Okay, so have a nice night and keep listening to Spirit Talk Show. Good night.